Hey guys, so whenever our tissue is been injured, our body doesn't stay idle. It starts the process of wound healing, and that is what we are going to see today. Now, this wound healing primarily occurs with the three different types of intentions: primary intention, secondary intention, and the tertiary intention. So it depends upon the type of an injury present and the process of the wound healing occurs. Whenever you get a slit cut injury, it basically damages your epidermis layers, the dermal layers. But this is not a wound which is too large. Once it has been cleaned with a disinfectant, it can be stitched or sutured. Once the stitching or a suture occurs, the approximation through the suturing to the stem cells of that particular area to regenerate, and that leads to the minimal scar formation. And that is how the primary intentional wound healing occurs. If you see a wound healing through a secondary intentions, like you can see over secondary intentions, the wound is basically larger than the primary intention. But in the secondary intention, the wound is not infected. What happens in this particular process, here the wound edges are far apart. So this can't be approximated or can't be brought together through the suturing. So what happens in this, the wound has been replaced by a connective tissue, and this connective tissue grows from the base of the wound and from the edges inward, leads to the filling of the wound through the granulation tissue, and that is where it leads to the formation of the large scar, where the scar formation will be equalized to the area of the tissue injured. Now the next one is a tertiary intention. In the tertiary intentions, the wound will be having the presence of the pus or an infection, or it will be contaminated. If you are suturing it, that will lead to an abscess formation. So these wounds are not sutured, whereas these wounds are left open, cleaned and observed. Once the contamination has been controlled and infection has been basically filling of the wound occurs through the granulation tissue, the wound has been sutured or stitched, and that is where the primary intentional healing occurs in the tertiary intention wound. The larger wounds have been actually stitched once the granulation occurs, and that leads to the wound healing by the primary intention. These are three different intentions how your wound healing occurs. We'll see the steps of the wound healing in the next part. Follow for more. Thank you.